In every tattoo, there lies a hidden message, a secret code, a mystery waiting to be unraveled by anyone who cares enough to read deeper into the ink. I'm Jordy Ramone, and if you'd let me, I'd like to guide you through a history of symbolism and tell you the story of a tattoo. My armor is like tenfold shields. My teeth are swords. My claws spears. The shock of my tail a thunderbolt. My wings a hurricane. And my breath death. I so vividly remember my first encounter with a dragon. The mighty Smaug, as featured in the cartoon adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. I was very young, but he certainly left a lasting impression on me, sparking my life's obsession with high fantasy. But Smaug the dragon is not a singularity within the realm of fantasy novels and folklore. Nor was he the precursor to the idea of the covetous wyvern hidden away in a cave guarding its fortune. No, the vision of a dragon as a four-legged, winged, and fire-breathing reptile was actually brought about in the high Middle Ages of Europe between 1000 and 1250 AD. Though even that was really just an amalgam of earlier ideas of dragons from various ancient cultures around the globe. However, rather than being seen as deities bearing ultimate wisdom or fortune, such as their Eastern counterparts, in Western cultures, dragons are portrayed as monstrous beasts destined to meet their fate at the hands of our fabled heroes. The second most memorable experience I've had with a dragon had to have been in Beowulf. Beowulf is a piece of epic poetry that scholars believe was written between 975 and 1025 AD. In the final act of the poem, sometime after Beowulf is crowned king, one of his slaves awakens a dragon by stealing a jeweled cup from its cave. After the dragon descends on his people's land, burning their homes and their crops, Beowulf leaves to find the dragon, planning to slay him in his cave and restore the riches of his people by taking the dragon's vast fortune. In the end, even though he is successful, Beowulf is bitten and fatally poisoned by the dragon. But even as he lay dying on the floor of the cave, Beowulf asked Wiglaf to bring him some of the dragon's treasure. Beowulf is, consequently, the first piece of English literature to ever present a dragon slayer. The dragon of high fantasy. He is really just an allegorical mirror to our own ego, our wants, needs, and desires, and our greed. The dragon is a symbol of the weird, a token of fate. It is our own inability to escape the roles society has predestined for us, and how those roles can poison us and our families. In The Hobbit, Tolkien wrote, "His rage passes description, the sort of rage that is only seen when rich folk that have more than they can enjoy suddenly lose something that they have long had but have never before used or wanted." And even after Smaug's defeat, Roak says to Thorin Oakenshield, "The treasure is likely to be your death, though the dragon is no more." Smaug the dragon represents our inability to control our urges, living on even after defeat in the dragon sickness that plagues anyone who would plunder the treasure hidden within his cave. But the cave, I think, is equally important in the story of the dragon of high fantasy. The Dragon's Cave, the places we go to commit our most secret desires, sequestering ourselves socially, mentally, or emotionally for the sake of the Golden Hoard. You see, the dragon itself has no use for the shiny things he covets or the maidens that he kidnaps. No matter how much wealth he amasses, it will do him no good, and that princess will never love him, nor will she fill his belly. In the end, all of the dragon's accumulation serve no other purpose than to drive him to madness. And likewise in our own lives, oftentimes the things we covet most bring us the least happiness, leaving us with nothing but emptiness and confusion. So it would seem that the cave of the dragon might just be as dangerous as its rapacious fire-breathing inhabitant, the dragon himself. Now that we've discussed some of the possible allegories of greedy dragons and their glittering caves, we can start to understand the cipher and tell the story of the dragon in the cave. I suppose our fiery foe and his dreary dwelling could have a multitude of meanings, but if you were to ask me, I think the dragon is calling to us from his cave, not to beckon us inside, but to warn us. You see, the dragon, for all of his fearsome power, has forgotten his real potential, his wings. In his greed and desire for the material, he has buried himself in the ground, and that gilded cage with all its sparkling treasures, in the end, has deprived the dragon of the ability to fly, and in doing so, robbed him of life's greatest promise, adventure. And it is adventure that is all too often what is missing from our lives today. I think life is better lived with a sense of mystery. Take this tattoo, for example. My friend and client, Zach, on whom I made this tattoo, allowed me to choose the design for him, whatever I wanted to draw. And in doing so, he had an adventure. He made memories. He slayed that dragon, and a story was written about it. So I'll leave you with this, my friends. Let us not hide ourselves away from the adventure of life. Let us not confine ourselves to the caves society shoves us into. Let us never fear the heights we can rise to if we simply walk out of that cave and spread our wings. Let us never settle for just being the dragon in the cave. I'm Jordy Ramone, and this has been The Story of a Tattoo. I truly appreciate you for listening, and I'd love to know your thoughts about the folklore discussed in this video, or what subjects you think I should cover next time. So be sure to leave a comment in the section below. And if you feel so inclined, a like or a subscription would help this channel grow. And, as always, do yourself a favor. Have a nice night.